Let's get to the word, shall we? Somebody say, get to the word. I am going to read out of 1 Samuel chapter 10, verses 20 through 22. We're going to read just a couple of short scriptures. The King James Version is up here, and I'm going to read out of the New Living Translation because it's just a little bit easier to understand, for me to understand, and also for me to read. The King James Version is very poetic, it's very pretty, but we're just going to get down to the nitty-gritty here. So, the New Living Translation, 1 Samuel 10, 20 through 22 says this. So Samuel brought all the tribes of Israel before the Lord, and the tribe of Benjamin was chosen by lot. Right. Then he brought each family of the tribe of Benjamin before the Lord, and the family of the Matrites was chosen. And finally, Saul, son of Kish, was chosen from among them. But when they looked for him, he had disappeared. So they asked the Lord, where is he? Right. And the Lord replied, he is hiding among the baggage. The traditional King James Version, you can see up here, puts it so eloquently. It says, behold, he hath hid himself among the stuff. And the title of my message tonight is simply Hidden Among the Stuff. Can we give the Lord a hand clap of praise? Have your way in this place. The Bible describes the young man Saul like this. It says that Saul was more handsome than any young man in all of Israel. And he was a head taller than anybody else. So basically, my interpretation, what the Bible is saying, is that Saul was a hunk of burning love. I mean, he had it going on. He was the whole package. These days, he would have been on The Bachelor. And because he's so good looking and he's so tall, and you just can't help but admire him. Ooh la la. And you really, in your heart of hearts, you want him to extend the red rose to you because he's so handsome. Come on now. But when the prophet Samuel first meets up with Saul, Saul is not out on some modeling job. He's not out auditioning for The Bachelor or even American, I guess it would be Israeli Ninja Warrior. Instead, Saul is out looking for his father's lost donkeys, and Saul is seeking something that he has lost. And the prophet Samuel, under God's direction, anoints young Saul as the very first king of Israel. Because up until this point, God himself has been their sovereign king. But see, the people have rejected God and they demand an earthly king. Someone who you can see and someone you can hear and someone who you can touch. In their minds, that is better than having God as their sovereign Lord. And so they demand an earthly king, and God, even though they have rejected him, in his infinite love, he gives them exactly what they want. Now if you think about it, this young man, Saul, in essence, he has been asked to take over God's role as king. And I think that those are probably some pretty big shoes to fill. So is it any wonder that when Saul is told, hey, you've been chosen, that he comes up with a bunch of different excuses about why he is not qualified to do God's will. I'm so sorry, Prophet Samuel, but I'm just too insignificant. And I'm too inadequate. So what Saul is really thinking is that I am too insecure. I am looking a few days after this anointing, after this divine invitation, and after this extraordinary experience, that Saul, the chosen, Saul, the anointed, is now Saul, the missing. Because Saul is now hiding from his commission. And he is refusing God's calling. And he has hidden himself among the stuff. The Hebrew word for stuff, it just means things or baggage. In other words, anything that is common, anything that we find familiar. So after Saul has had this life-changing experience, a few days later, he is reverting back to the same state where Samuel found him. And Saul goes back to looking for the things that he has lost. Only this time he's not looking for donkeys. Instead, now Saul is looking for the common. He is looking for the things that he feels comfortable with. And he is seeking to retreat to the familiar.
Come on now.
And so he surrounds himself with baggage, physical stuff. But what Saul has really done is that he has barricaded himself behind spiritual baggage. And he has returned to his place of ineffectiveness.
Come on now.
If I hide myself behind my inadequacies, and if I can cower behind my insecurities, then maybe, just maybe, I can conceal my spiritual condition.
Come on now.
I would rather embrace the ordinary than endure the discomfort of the extraordinary. And so I'll hide behind a bunch of stuff.
Come on now. My God.
But we can't judge Saul too harshly, because you know what? That's exactly what we do sometimes. God has extended to you a divine invitation, and he's saying, come up higher, launch into a new territory, step out by faith. And so we're on a spiritual high for a few days.
Yes, for a few days.
And then just a little while later,
Come on now.
we retreat
Back.
to the familiar.
Oh my.
It is easier to maintain an attitude of mediocrity than to step out into your God-ordained destiny. We use baggage as a wall to shut everybody out, including God. Or maybe I should say, especially God. But what is your baggage? Everyone in this room has some sort of baggage. Maybe it's a label that somebody pinned on you. Maybe it was your father or your mother or your husband or your wife or your friend. But you accepted that label. You don't have to accept a label. You don't have to keep it. You don't have to be labeled. But you accepted it, and now you wear it as part of your daily outfit. And you won't leave the house until you pick it up and you pin it on yourself before you walk out the door. Or maybe your baggage is fear, and it's become so ingrained in your psyche that you talked yourself into failing, and nothing Saul is afraid. Even though God has called him, he feels inadequate and he feels inferior and he feels vulnerable. And these things become excuses. And the excuses become baggage. And the baggage becomes indulgence. Because Saul is making himself feel better about his failure to fulfill God's destiny in his life. See, it's easier to embrace excuses instead of chasing God's desire for you. Saul is so focused on all the reasons why he can't be the king that he has forgotten one very, very important thing. When God calls you, he will equip you, and God will prepare you, and God will anoint you so that you can do exactly what he has called you to do. Those labels, those fears, those failures, those excuses, those are not from God. Instead, God has his own labels, and his labels are, you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that you can show forth the praises of him who has called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Can we give God a hand clap of praise? He has called you so that he can show you his marvelous light. But first, you have to step out from behind the baggage, and you have to walk away from all those excuses. But how do you step away from the baggage? How do you walk away from the stuff? The first thing that you have to do is be responsive. When God calls you, you have an obligation. You have a responsibility to respond to his call. God is calling you up higher. The Bible says the deep calleth unto deep. There are blessings for you, but you will never get to them until you go deeper, until you launch into the deep. We are terrified of the unknown, and we don't like to be uncomfortable, and so we stay in the shallows. We keep playing in the kiddie pool because we can see the bottom. But honey, faith does not come by seeing. Faith comes by hearing the word of God. Faith comes by walking it out. I can't see anything, God, but I'm trusting you. I'm following you. I don't want to walk beside him. I want him to lead me every step of the way. Where his footstep goes, I want to go, because now I am following after him. Bless your name, Lord. Bless your name.
Glory. Hallelujah.
Responding to his call requires that you leave the shallows. It requires you to get out of the kiddie pool. I know there's little rubber duckies in there and it's fun, but get spiritual hunger. Spiritual hunger is a desperate desire to be in His presence. It is a longing in your spirit. It's a desire to know Him more. It is an almost overwhelming need. I can't live without you, Jesus. I can't breathe without you, Jesus. I can't walk without you, Jesus. I just want to be with Him. I want to hear His heartbeat. And the only way that you can hear His heartbeat is when you crawl up into His lap and you lay your head against His chest. And you can hear His very heartbeat. The more I seek Him, the more I find Him. But I have to be hungry first. I don't want to hear His heartbeat if I'm not hungry.
That's right.
Blessed are ye that hunger now, for ye shall be filled.
That's right.
There is no misunderstanding. There is no wiggle room there. Ye shall. It will happen. You will be filled. You will chase after the thing that you crave, and you will do whatever it takes to get it. You will make time for it in your life. You will make room for it in your life. You will put your money on it. And my question to you, church, tonight is, how hungry are you for God? When a person is physically sick, they don't have an appetite. And the same is true for your soul. Do you have an appetite for Him? How long has it been since you were willing to pray and to get closer to Him? How long has it been since you wept and you knelt in His presence? If you're not hungry, then you are not seeking after Him. Ask God, Lord, make me hungry. Make me hungry for you and the things of you. This isn't in my notes, but I know a lady by the name of Sister Webb. And she means so much to me. She is in a church in Colorado Springs where I grew up. And Sister Webb, she can't sing. She can't minister, but she can clean and she can pray. And she'll come in 30 minutes early, Brother Hudson, sometimes even an hour before the choir even gets there. And she's praying for these pews. God, fill these pews. God, I know that Sister Belinda sits here. Bless her, God, with good things. Let there be an extra anointing on her today. And then she goes to the next pew and she prays here. God, fill these pews. And then she'll go to the door and say, God, anoint every person that walks through this place. God, let them leave for available. See, this is where Saul failed. He responded to God's calling, and that's a good thing, but he didn't make himself available. But how can God use you if you're not available?
Oh, that's true.
How can you preach that message if you never come to church? How can God give you direction if you never spend time with him in prayer? Isaiah said, "Here I am, Lord, send me." Saying, "Here I am," is good. It's good, it's right, and it lets God know I'm responding to your call. But when you say, "Send me," it takes it to a whole nother level. Because it tells God, I am taking action on your call. "Here I am" is a passive phrase, but "send me" is an active phrase. Don't just call me, Lord, but send me. Send me, Lord, to win souls. Send me, God, to be a witness. Send me to encourage. Send me to work in your kingdom. We need to be kingdom-minded, church. That means our thoughts, our actions, our very words, our heartbeat, all are for God. It's all for him. Kingdom-minded means that we are more focused on him than we are on ourselves. I'd like us all to stand, please. The other night, I was sharing my heartbeat with our youth pastors in our college and careers class. I'm usually upstairs teaching, but I told them for our college and careers class, the days of a cute little prayer are gone. The days of a cute little lesson are over, because we need more. We need revival among our young people. As we're having revival in our church, it needs to be meaningful. We have to be hungry. There is revival being poured out on our church, in our church, but that's just the tip of the iceberg, because greater things are coming. God has miracles that are waiting in the wings, and God has healings that are standing by, and he has blessings that he is ready to pour out. But we need to be hungry for it. We don't have time for baggage. We don't have time for excuses. We don't have time for stuff. We need to embrace all that God has for us. Just respond to his call. Hunger for his presence and act on his calling. Do what God has called you to do. Because, church, God is with you, and God is for you, and he will equip, and he will provide, and before you know it, you're going to be walking out that calling, walking out that God-ordained destiny, and his plan will be fulfilled in your life. God, all I want is you. God, you see my heart. God, I hear you calling me. God, I know that I'm not worthy. But you, God, have a plan and a purpose for me. And I hunger after you, Lord. God, I'm